It's like a security blanket. I'm not comfortable unless I know you're okay. Do you feel funded yet?
No.
No?
I feel defunded after looking at these insurance prices on the marketplace.
Insurance. What are we talking about? Health insurance, car insurance?
Yeah,
It doesn't matter. It's all a racket.
expensive.
It's all a racket and it's all expensive. So I suppose it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was Jason was talking about the kind of car he wants when he gets older. And we're like, Jason, do you know, or Amber told him, our insurance is going to go up like $100 or whatever more a month. And I was like, $100 more a month, probably like $400 a month more. She's like, no. I was like, let's just check. Let's check. Let's see what's going on here. I'm like, there you go. $400 a month.
How close
we'll pay more a month than we do for all of the stuff that we have under insurance for 1 month.
Well, and to boot, you have, how long is it before he gets his temps and he can drive? That's a year. That's a
year and a half.
No way.
Yeah, it's 13, dude.
If it's any consolation, where I was going with that before, because I was like, oh yeah, he's only like 10 or something, so he's got like 5 more years before inflation really sets in and you're screwed. But I suppose if there's a silver lining, whatever price you pay is going to be a little bit more comparable to today's. I'm going to save this. It goes there. This goes here. And that goes there. A new folder. 51. Sounds and the systems that play them. What's funny is I don't title any of the episodes what I name my folders. And so thank God I put the number in there.
Nice.
Right. Let's see this. Raws. I forgot to load the voicemail, so talk amongst yourselves.
Do you ever put something in a folder somewhere and then later you're like, where did I stick
Forget
that?
all about it. Yeah. I did that just the other day. I was hunting for a snare sample for some music. And for whatever reason, it's not in my vast library of samples. So I was really pissed. It took me, an hour and a half to run searches on every single hard drive before I found it. And then when I found it, I was like, what's it doing in there?
So like on the laptop, it has the SD one and then it has the like an actual hard drive on there. And I guess I accidentally opened that one because I copied everything that's on the other drive onto that one. So I just go back and forth with that too, like as a backup. Well, I opened up D drive on accident and that's where I stuck the file under the same stuff as normal. And I wanted to open the next day. I was looking under the regular files and I couldn't find it. I'm like, hey, no, it's in here. Went to the recycling bin. I'm like, it's not here. I'm like, what is going on? Where is my music file?
I suppose ultimately, I guess it could be way worse. It could be a file that you absolutely need like tomorrow. Otherwise, maybe your show doesn't run or something.
I've been there before.
Oh, you lost your file?
Mm-hmm. I had the wrong file. I didn't know where the right file was.
There we go. All right. Okay. Voicemail's loaded. Let's see what else.
Soundboard's up.
What? What about, what'd you say?
I said soundboard's up. You're doing double check, so I was throwing it out there.
Emotional damage.
Yep.
Chad's like, I'm part of this one. I'm already pissed off. Start talking.
4 minutes, 32 seconds, a new record.
I was really trying to milk this out, but because it took Jamie 10 minutes to get here, I feel like we already talked about.
I was sitting in the wrong chat room.
What?
How do you get in the wrong chat room?
And I was waiting for the link to come up, and I'm like, okay, it's 8:40.
You just clicked on an old one.
All these stupid premiums, and then all of a sudden you text me, and I'm like, oh, I was in the wrong chat room.
Wow.
You said chat room, and I'm like, oh, the man's on AOL. Rock and roll.
I want to go back to those days. Your estimated insurance costs $30,000 a year, $32,000 a year, $29,000 a year. I'm like, no, don't like any of those.
What?
I don't have a job.
Farm some of your kids out
I'm thinking about it.
to the neighbors.
Maybe I'll make Kayla get her own
there's
insurance.
got to be a website or something for when you put them up for rent.
It's about like your pyro budget, isn't it?
Insuremykid.com.
Insureme.com.
Go insureme.com. Go fund me.
There we go.
Go insure me. No, wait.
Quick,
Never mind.
somebody find out that's a real website.
That's
If
called
not, go
Medicare.
Get it ready.
I don't think I qualify. I'm just going to move in with Chad.
Oh, you're going to move in with Chad.
That's fine. Come on over.
I'll be a barn cleaner.
A bar cleaner and show prepper.
You can organize my fireworks.
Yes, sir.
I'll
Yes, sir.
organize
What do you
his
need today,
barn.
sir? Okay, sir. You want me to
So
move
he
that
doesn't
box
lose
over there, sir?
anything again.
Okay. Whatever you say, boss.
Plus, he has good food.
Want this box over there, boss? Okay. I don't know. That one's a little heavy. Insurance doesn't pay for this. Yeah.
Welcome to the Rhythm Pyro
Oh, I pulled
Podcast,
something.
where Posey, AJ, and Jamie ignite your passion for pyromusical show design while testing the very limits of your capacity for stupid.
Stupid window keeps moving. 51. There it is. Welcome to the Rhythm Pyro Podcast. I'm Bo. That's AJ.
Hola.
And that's Jaime. The uninsured. We're hobbyists and semi-professional pyro show designers. We're big fans of the modern pyro musical. And our little podcast is a place where we can get together, talk shop, fireworks, art, share some tips, tricks, news, and insights with you. Go be a Patreon because that's a cool thing to be. And if you're saying to yourself when you go to the Patreon at patreon.com/rhythm pyro, you know what? I'm not going to pay these guys monthly to do this. This is ridiculous. This is absurd. If you want something a little more tangible, head over to bozy8823.com and get yourself some balls or some DB25 cables. That's right. We got DB25 cables on the website now. 6-footers and 10-footers. So if you're looking for ways to support the podcast and you got to be able to hold it in your hand, there you go.
What are we talking about?
Exactly. We got Chad
Let's try it not.
Leinart with us this week. What's up, Chad?
Not much. How you guys doing?
I'm better now that you're here.
That's questionable.
It makes me feel so good.
Night's still young. I'm sure Chad's got some right hooks in his pocket. He's like, I've been wanting to tell you guys a few things lately.
Every
2.5
episode.
hours.
Yeah, we're going to keep these to 30 to 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good luck.
So we're recording 6 episodes. Got it.
Yeah.
That would feel like a pretty productive night, to be honest. I'd be down for
Quick one.
6 straight episodes.
Oh,
Basically a bender.
all right. Everybody go get a coffee. Meet back in 5.
Yeah.
C4
All right, we're going to talk
baby.
about
C4.
we're going to talk about sound systems this week. Pyromusicals are just a theory if there's no music. So you need a sound system in which to play your music. And we can think of no better resource for sound information than Chad. So
You need more friends.
I need more friends.
it's good. I got one for everything. It is an interview process when I lose one, though. If I lost a plumber friend, then man, it'd be really tough.
You have to go find a new one.
Yeah, I got to go find a new one. I fill a void, and then I'm like, all right, I'm good.
Fill a void.
I don't need to backfill. I don't need 2 plumbers in my life. One's enough.
Love you too.
All right, man. So let's talk sound systems. And I guess we can talk about sound systems in the context of
All kinds of categories, technically.
Yeah, we can do, I suppose, the pro amateur stuff. As far as backyard pyromusicals go, I think this time of year, things tend to heat up. AJ was like, hey, I think we should do an episode on sound systems because it's starting to get It's starting to get real on Facebook and in the Discord and places. So this seemed applicable.
Totally, because this is when everyone's like thinking that last minute, what do I need?
Oh, that's right. I've spent 8 months designing a show to music, and I don't have a way to play any music.
What do you mean the JBL Extreme ain't enough? Sounds loud in my bedroom.
There's a number of people that I think their first time out, if they're shooting for a small enough group, and I guess we're just going to have to like pick a use case, I suppose. So you got a backyard and you got a handful of people sitting in the backyard and, not a big crowd. I don't know. Let's call it 60 or 70 people, all kind of clustered in one spot, watching a pretty narrow shoot site show. So you don't have to spread sound everywhere, but you see folks hop on the Facebook groups and they'll post something that they found on Amazon, that's like pretty low wattage, 50 to a couple hundred watts, some name brand you've never heard of, LEDs all over the place.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, right. But guys, it lights up. You don't understand. This is
battery powered.
Yeah. This is going to add to the visual experience of the show.
I mean, it's kind of better than what I used the first time.
It's the thought that counts, I suppose. They realized that they needed a sound system. But when you see guys ask that question, when you see new pyromusical shooters ask hey, I need a sound system question, Chad, how do you typically approach that? What's your first question for them?
What's your budget?
That's a good one.
Because most of the time I find that what I would buy and what most people would want to buy are not the same thing.
If somebody says that they've got a $500 budget, that's really going to limit things pretty substantially, regardless of how big or small your site is.
I think the first thing I would ask is budget. And then the second thing I would ask is, how is your crowd arranged? Is it narrow and, 100 people deep, or is it everybody spread out, 300 feet wide, but only 10 people deep? Because those are two totally different scenarios in which you need to try and provide sound for.
How does it differ in those scenarios?
I guess if you just take what most people would consider a typical speaker on a stand, you can, that thing's only going to throw a certain degree each way of it. I think some of the speakers I have are like 75 degrees. So if you start kind of drawing that out on a piece of paper, what 75 degrees does, depending on how far back that speaker is, and you want the speakers fairly close because you don't want that delay in the music and the fireworks to really be shown by taking those speakers back really far. So if you say 75 degrees out from a point, you're only going to be able to go so wide, so far from the speaker. Well, you're not going to be able to go 300 feet wide with people with two speakers. Can you go 100 feet? Probably. Mm-hmm. Then you start looking at the depth on it. How far does that speaker throw? And not get to the point where you've got it so loud up front that the people in the back can hear it, but the people up front are holding their eardrums. And then, likewise, you don't have it so that the people in the back can't hear it and the people up front can barely hear it. There's just a lot of different things to look at that I look at when doing that. I kind of view the speaker system as a modular thing where you bring out more if you need it. You don't have to bring it out if you don't need it. My typical show, I've got people spread out over the probably 200 feet wide. So I take 6 speakers and I put them 40 feet apart. You get to why do you do that? Well, because I've got 25-foot XLR cables, and 2 25-foot XLR cables give me 5 foot up a speaker pole, 40 foot across, and 5 foot back up the other speaker pole.
Yeah.
That, and 50-foot extension cords work great between them. That's why I do it the way I do it. And it works out good for that. then you start getting into do you want active speakers or passive speakers? Do you want the amp separated, or do you want, a powered speaker? I think for most of the people that are going to be shooting pyro shows, a powered speaker is the way to go. That has the amp on board to where you just run power to it, and then you run the line from whatever audio source you're feeding from, be it a computer, be it a soundboard, be it a audio box. And you can try to keep it as simple as possible.
There's a convenience to that, I'm sure, right? It's one thing if you're the sound guy and, you've got tons and tons of stuff, which obviously you do, but at the same time, we're pyros too. So we have a bunch of gear and, storage might be issues for some of us. So it's nice to be able to rely on a single piece of gear that has the amp built into the speaker.
And I always look for the speakers are usually the last thing I set up. So I need it to be really easy. I don't need to be tweaking stuff for an hour, setting it up after I've been out in the field all day setting up pyro. Mm-hmm. I don't have anybody that sets it up for me. I can have people that can. I usually have all the stuff laid out to where it needs to go, and people can take a speaker stand and a speaker to each location, and then I usually go set it all up. So ease of setup for me is a big thing.
Mm-hmm. If you pay Jamie, I'm sure he'll set it up.
Jamie's great. Jamie set up all my 1.4 up last year.
And Chad set up my sound last year.
It works.
You kind of did bring something up, and it's more of a rebuttal on it. You were talking about like a powered speaker being the way to go. It depends too, though. Like you can run a whole lot of cable to speakers and then have passive speakers all over the place and just use your amp to power them all and only have one source needed for power. Mm-hmm. But like you said, you do need a whole, then you're dealing with amps and other little setups that you have to have. And now you're carrying around another giant
It's box. Just like any other system that you're using. Just know how it works and know the ins and outs of it so you can troubleshoot as you go. And, why isn't this working? Okay, it's, signal goes from here to here to here and it's coming to here, but it's not going to there. Okay, I probably got a bad cable. Connection's bad. I don't have power to this speaker. Just like the firing systems you're using, know them and don't just pull them out the day before your show thinking, well, I used it last year. It works fine. I'm pulling it out today for tomorrow's show. And what do you know? I forget how to do this. It doesn't work. How do you plug this in? Oh, I forgot I ran over a cable last year and didn't replace it. And I only had enough cables to do it. So I need new cables now.
Yeah. Test your stuff. So that way 4 days before you decide to leave for your show, you're not going, Chad, what's wrong with my speakers? I can't figure out why they sound like this.
They're no
Don't
bueno.
forget your power cords either.
Yeah.
The configuration of the system that you have, so much of it's going to be dependent for the guy that's, maybe has a couple of shows a year and is really kind of setting up what is essentially to them a modular system that they can take different shoot sites and provide sound for. If your first question to that shooter is, what's your budget? What's your next question? Say the answer to that question is, I got a few $1,000. All right. I'm a pyro, but I'm not one of those pyros. It's like, I want all my money to be in fireworks. I'll throw my money at some of this other stuff that will allow me to put on a better quality show. So what's the next question that you have for me?
I think it is make sure you know everything you're going to need to put a sound system together. It's not just speakers. There are so many accessories that go with it. Okay, you got to have speaker stands, you've got to have cables, you've got to have power cables, you've got to have extension cords, all of that stuff.
The correct extension cords too.
Yeah, and all of that stuff adds up quickly as well. So don't think you can go out there and buy two $500 speakers and you're going to have a sound system. Well, then you got to throw a couple stands on, $100 a piece. Then you got extension cords. Well, if you've got speakers that are, 1,000 watts a piece, you don't want light duty extension cords. You want 12 gauge extension cords. Do you have enough power to run everything? Where are you getting power from at your shoot site? Do you need a generator? Is there power there? Just all of that sort of stuff is what I look at as a whole system and not just speakers. I mean, most of the time I see the question is, what speakers do I need to get?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
yeah.
That's one
Are these
part
loud
of
enough?
Are they loud enough? Are they going to sound good? You know, I learned a long time ago, and it's my opinion that better quality equipment costs more money. And the more expensive it is, the better it is. Now, I also think you get to a point where even myself that's been around it some, I think it gets to a point where I can't tell the difference between a $1,000 speaker and a $2,000 speaker, especially in an outdoor environment. Can I tell the difference between a $200 speaker and a $700 speaker? Yes, I think you definitely can. Does it matter to you? I don't think it matters to you until you've heard better equipment. Mm-hmm. You know, AJ and I had this conversation last year, and it was, you know, I think he was happy with the speakers he had, and I said, "Well, go try these. Go to the store and try them. There's plenty of stores that you can go to and try these things and A/B test them side by side and see what you like and see what you don't like and see if you can tell the difference." You know, I am a big fan of QSC stuff. I think it sounds great. I think it's very durable. It can live up to being drug around. I had some knocked over last year, and it didn't hurt them. They were on speaker stands, and they fell over. They're fine. You know, not every speaker I think you'd be able to do that with. So, I mean, AJ, last year when you went and tried a different speaker, could you tell the difference? Sound-wise?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think I was talking to you after I was listening to him and talking about how much more you could drive these things, but still hear a clear tone. Mm-hmm. Like we're on my other speakers. So I had the Alto 315s prior, and they ended up blowing up. But so the sound coming out of that, when you pushed them, you could definitely hear like distortion and muddiness. But when on these, you can really push them. And even when it's starting to clip on the light just a little bit, when you're trying to find that perfect spot, it's still not muddy, but it's kind of letting you know it's there. And just below, as long as you're not clipping, there's a clear tone coming out of it. And that means a lot too when you're trying to cover sound over an area, because it's easier to get clear tone out than it is just a muddy signal. And the farther you go with that, it's just going to sound like garbage. I noticed the difference last year. Totally.
Please tell me that you went to the Guitar Center with your Altos and you walked them in the front door and you're like, "Hey man, I want to set these things up and I want to compare them to QSCs." You can't say no to me.
No, we actually got to do it out in the parking lot. That's how I'm going to
them.
utilize
Bring your car keys. I need you to lay on your horn too. We need everybody, get all the employees. All the employees can come out and lay on their horns. You need to make sure you can hear these.
Not to jump too far ahead, but you know, you can also get into how the signal is set up going to the speakers, and it's a whole gain staging talk you can have on making sure you've got the best quality sound signal getting to the speaker. That's a big deal to me. I see a lot of people, you know, try and take an audio source, either a bad quality source, and try to push it louder than it should, and you'll get distortion. Or, you know, take say you're playing music off your phone and it's tied directly to a speaker, and you have the volume on your phone really low, but then you crank the gain up on the speaker to try and make up for that, and you're starting with a low signal to start with, and then you're trying to amplify it, and it works a lot better if you give it a good strong signal to start with, and then not have to boost it as much.
And really, methodically speaking, you work your signal chain from beginning to end. You know, if you ever run into, you know, spots where you need to troubleshoot something, always start at the beginning. You know, start with your source. If you're running it out of your phone, like you said, and you need to crank up the volume, because it's like that happened a few times, man. At Skywars in 2020, when I did a test run, I freaked out. I didn't have my phone in airplane mode for my first trial run. And when I got up to the board and you plug that stuff in, it's like, it's like I totally planned to put it in airplane mode and do all these things for the show. But like when you've got your audio track is of the utmost importance if it's on dual duty. You know, if you're using whatever audio source for your audio as well as like a SMPTE timecode output, then the integrity of that is absolutely crucial. I mean, and not like it wouldn't be if the music just stopped and then your show kept going, because obviously that's a buzzkill. You don't want that in any scenario. But signal quality and signal chain from beginning to end it's a really big deal. But troubleshooting that stuff is easy enough if you just take a deep breath and start at the beginning.
And the beginning is picking good quality files to start with.
Yeah. 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 Don't rip shit off YouTube.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
It's a fucking $1 for crying out loud to get a quality distribution based MP3 from the open market. Spend the money.
I do have some songs that were on when I first met you. There was a couple songs that I had that I ripped. And it's funny listening to those now after having other copies of them that are actual, like I bought them and they're quality. It's amazing when you listen to the two. And I guess for most people, they don't really truly hear it until you just like pay attention from it. Maybe put on headphones. And then once you do that, you'll hear it forever.
For the pyro tracks in the audio engineering business, I do soundtracks for people. I got a client that they do a big ticket major league ballpark, and they had an in-house audio engineer that did a track from a previous year, and he ripped the track off of YouTube. And about 3/4 of the way through the track, when I was listening to it as a reference to do this year's track, I heard a like and subscribe bell in the track. So they had ripped it off of YouTube, and you hear those little dings and things like that, but because you never know what the author of the YouTube video is putting over top of the things that they put on the video, you know, especially if it's not the artist or the label that's releasing that. And a lot of times you'll even get the music video version of a song, which isn't necessarily the song. It could be totally different. You know, they could have like 3 or 4 minutes worth of something at the beginning of the music video, or they could have an interlude that lasts like 3 times longer than the other one. Like you don't know. So sure, you know, if you vet it and you listen to it, that's great. So comparing apples to apples, though, you're going to get a degraded audio file on a lot of those rippers. Well, sure, you'll get a 320 kilobyte per second MP3 file, but it's not of the distribution quality from the master that was distributed to the Amazons of the world and the iTunes of the world.
And like you said, it's $1.
Yeah, it's $1.
Go to Amazon and go buy the damn song.
Let's get real.
And sometimes you won't hear that difference on a computer, even on earbuds, until you put it into a PA system to where you really try and push that signal out is where you will find it. And then when you do that, if you haven't tested it, it's too late and you have to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's going back with like I was talking about the quality of that clear sound. If you have clear sound and a shitty quality soundtrack, you're going to hear it. If you have a quality soundtrack and the quality sound coming out of those speakers, because it's a quality speaker, it's going to be so clear that, like you said, you can crank the hell out of it.
Yeah. Well, and like in modern music too is mastered, so there's so little headroom between, you know, just the dynamics of your songs are so squished.
Sausage fest.
They're so squished. I mean, it's a complete sausage fest when you look at the waveforms. And when you play that waveform through a PA system, you know, Chad, like you said, like, I mean, there is such a fine line. All it's going to take is like, as soon as you find you're like, I'm happy with this, right? I'm happy with the level that I have my track cranked up to. But then the minute that the fireworks start going off and you're like, you know what, needs 3 or 4 more dB, you crank that and then that's it. Like it's just going to be a distortion fest, and you're going to be clipping the entire way out. So that's, I suppose that's a segue into my next question. And, you know, I know you said that this is kind of something that everybody comes to the table with. Like, what do I need? How much power do I need so the fireworks can be heard? So given the budget is there, and given somebody has determined how much space they need to broadcast sound to cover, what kind of power requirements do you normally recommend for the fireworks aspect of a show to music?
I would think if you're starting out with a couple speakers, 1,000 watts a piece.
Okay.
just don't think you're going to be able to get where you need to be at a good sound quality if you don't have something that's capable of that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good place to start. I think it's a good place that you can add to it later with the same speaker if you want to get more out of it later and spread your coverage out even more.
And don't fall for the whole 3,000 watt speaker
marketing ploy. You really need to start looking at the specs on the speakers themselves and looking at the difference in the numbers and make sure you're comparing apples to apples when you're comparing different speakers.
And big thing too, going with it is, the actual quality of protection that's built into these things as well, for like protecting the horns and the speakers and such from damage.
Right.
I see people asking all the time about subwoofers. What's your thought on that, Chad?
I wouldn't put money into them to start with. My initial thought was that you would not need them at a fireworks show. I thought the fireworks would take care of the low end until I was at Skywars for the first time and they had subs. And granted, that's a whole totally different system that they're using there, but it added more to the show than I thought it would. But in my show, I don't know that I will take the extra effort to bring subs out. If I had somebody that was dedicated to doing sound and taking care of all the sound stuff at my show, and I didn't have to deal with it after doing all of the fireworks setup, maybe. But it's more stuff to tear down at the end of the night. And to me,
stuff,
it's not worth it. Does it add to it? Yes. Does it sound better? I think it would. Yes. If you're also using the sound system during, leading up to the fireworks show as a party, you can use it all day long for people to have it a cookout or whatever. Yeah, it probably would add to it. For me, for what I do, I'm not to that point yet where I want to drag all my subs out because they're not light. They're not easy to move around. They take more power. And I'm already maxing out the power that I have available where I'm at right now. Can I get more? Probably, but I need to do a couple things that I don't want to do right now.
It seems like at Skywars, they were probably, there was a very distinct problem that I feel like they were trying to solve with the sound. And I know they've done it 1,000 different ways. I think the arrays that they wound up settling on, I feel like you get full spectrum sound from what they provide. And I think it's still arguable whether or not the timing is always going to be there, because I think you're always going to have an element of the fireworks to the timing of the music is always going to be relative to your ears and how far away your ears are from the sound source. Typically that becomes negligible I would say it's negligible on smaller shoot sites and more of a thing at really, really large shoot sites like Skywars. But I don't know, for a smaller show, it seems like for the most part, I think you would have to come out with the most balls deep sound system in the world, especially when you roll your subs out and stuff too. I feel like that trade-off is, as far as frequency spectrum response, once the fireworks really get going, I would think the same thing. That
I think it would take a lot of powered subs and a lot of subs to make it noticeable during the show. Mm-hmm. If you have some slower segments in the show and you're not, don't have a lot of stuff going off, yes. If you've got the right music, can you tell the subs are there? Probably. Do most people know that you don't have subs? No. But you're also talking about people that are used to listening to their phones. They're used to listening to Bluetooth speakers. They're used to listening to, earpods.
Oh yeah, dude. And all you get is mid-range. Like you're only always ever going to get either mids or low mids as far as frequency response. Like you just don't hear sub frequencies on those systems at all.
No.
But on the PA systems, I feel like you would hear it, but I'm almost curious what happens to your perception of it when a show gets going. You know, I feel like sub is always, it's more of an energy than it is anything else. It's there. And then when it's not there, you know, it's not there because you don't feel it.
And that's the way I always want my subs. I want to feel them.
Yeah.
I don't just want to hear them. And to feel them takes a lot.
Yeah, but like you said too, people are paying attention to the show so much more that their mind's listening to the song and they can hear it, but their eyes and attention are basically more on the fireworks than listening to the sound.
Yeah, and I think
and
like
thinking,
Sky Wars
there's
is
no bass in this sound.
Yeah, Sky Wars is definitely an outlier. I mean, if you ran that same setup out there and you had no sub response at all, you know, say it was doing nothing but broadcasting music upwards of, you know, 100 hertz or something like that, and all your sub frequencies are just gone, it would sound really mid-rangey and thin. But once you add those back in, which you're going to get those frequency responses producing themselves in subwoofers, you'd hear them there through the energy. And I think you would notice them at a venue like Sky Wars just because they spend so much time trying to build up that wall of sound to, I don't want to say take away from the percussive element of the fireworks, because I totally believe no matter how hard you try, you'll never be able to do that. But the human brain's still making that connection between the timing, between the fireworks and the music, like you said, AJ.
And you can feel out there at Sky, well, depending how close you are, I guess, you know, we're always up front. You can feel the ground when the subs are hidden too. So like you get that secondary effect. And especially when the fireworks are breaking in the air and then the ground shaking at that same time, like it gives you that whole 3D, like, you know, like what do you call it? Emulsion? How do you say that word?
Immersion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's another one that sounds like that though. Emulsion, I think is what it is, or something.
I think going back to your original question of building a system, would I add subs to it? Yes, but they'd be at the bottom of the list. I mean, they would be after good quality speakers, good quality cables, good quality stands, enough speakers to cover the audience well. And then if you've got all of that covered, maybe add some subs.
Yeah.
Can you explain good quality cables?
I was just going to ask him about that. There is a big topic right there that a lot of people talk. It's mono price, or there's monster, and you know, there's this and this cable.
I think you want to find a cable that you have good luck with. I definitely think there's a difference in cable qualities, just like everything else. I like live wires from Guitar Center. I've always had good luck with them. And the last time I checked, they were still warranted for life. So anytime I have one that if I do have an issue with it, which I mean, it happens from time to time, I've run over them before, cut them. I take them back to a Guitar Center, any Guitar Center, and they give me a new one. I mean, here you go. Here's my cable. Give me a new one off the shelf.
Nice.
It just, do I pay more for that? Probably a little bit more. I'm sure it's covered in the cost of the cable, but is it double what a same quality cable without that has? No.
Well, I do. Like for this use case though, I would argue that that's a really great deal. I mean, it's the same thing with like the monster cables back in the day. You know, when I was playing guitar in a band or something and you're going out and playing places, okay, awesome. But I mean, if you're doing live sound, there's I would argue there's a lot of wear and tear on those cables. So if you have one that goes bad, which inevitably you're going to have, I would say
roll up, takedown, roll up, takedown.
It's going to pay for itself pretty quick.
What I can say is I've had my cables for probably 10 years now. They don't get as much use as they used to, but they have been out touring, you know, not every night, but, you know, every weekend with a band. I can probably count on one hand how many that I've had go bad. I can only think of one or two that wasn't my own fault. You know, that I didn't do something to cause it to go bad or run over it with a something that cuts it, drag it around a corner and slice it open. I've had really good luck with them. And again, the ones that I do have trouble with, take them back, get new ones free. And it's great to know that.
It's great to know that next time I see your cables in the field at Octoblast, it's free game. We can just run it over.
Go right ahead.
He needs new ones.
Chad's under warranty.
Yeah, hopefully nobody from Guitar Center is listening.
Cut this one. Cut this one.
It would pain them, but they would have to replace it. It sounds like.
I guess that's another thing to go into is where you're buying stuff from. I deal with Guitar Center because that's where I started dealing with. I deal with the GC Pro side. I've heard a lot of guys that have had really good luck with Sweetwater.
Oh yeah, yep.
I mean, and a lot of times if you call those companies and get in with them, you can get, I'm not going to say, well, maybe better deals than what you see online. But you can deal with a person that really talk to them and they can help you build a system that fits your needs. Explain to them your layout, how many people you're going to have, what you're doing with it. And they can say, well, these speakers will work for you. These won't. Here's why I would go with these. Those guys do it every day. They may not be in pyro every day, but they understand sound systems.
For sure.
And they're great resources.
Yeah. Every single one of those companies, whether it's Guitar Center or Sweetwater, they've got, once they determine what your typical application is, they'll assign you a salesperson. And that salesperson is essentially your guy. It's your contact. They don't usually arbitrarily pick these people, like churches and big venues and not even smaller venues, clubs and outdoor traveling entertainment venues. If you've got a pyro production company and you're doing Pyromusicals, it's absolutely an application that qualifies for that kind of level of service. And you're right, you'll absolutely get a better deal.
And there's probably more out there than those are the two that I know of off the top of my head that I personally know people or I have dealt with them and bought a lot of stuff through both of them. And everybody that I've talked to has nothing but good things to say about the people they've dealt with at those companies.
So, you were talking about being a QSC guy and, I've bought a set as well. If you were on a budget and didn't have your awesome system you have now, what would you go buy? Even not knowing what you know now, I guess, but knowing some of it, let's just say, what would you go out and purchase for your basic setup? Say you needed 3 speakers, you're on a $2,000 limit. And let's break it down to everything: cables, the speakers, a mixer, that kind of thing. Go as basic as you possibly can.
Well, I think that's where you start looking at what do you really need. There are, I run a Cobra firing system, so I use an audio box. My speaker setup is audio box into the first speaker and daisy chain from that speaker to the next. I don't run a mixer. I don't have anything that I need to. I mean, my speakers will allow me to do 2 inputs to it. So even if I wanted to add a mic or something, I still could without a mixer. Some people like running mixers for various reasons or other, another audio source coming in to play music off your phone, while you're doing things. I keep it as simple as I can. I would spend money on cables, good cables and good stands, because I think spending a little bit more money than what the basic model is on those things will make a big difference for you. And it's something you're going to keep forever. Speaker wise, I honestly think you deal with those companies and they can recommend speakers for your application, for what you're doing and what your budget is. I think, did you have the Altos?
Yes.
I think people have had good luck with those. I just think it's a speaker you can't push as hard as some of the other ones. As long as you're not going to have to do that, I think you'll be fine with it for a while. I think people have talked, the Mackeys. I think those are decent speakers. Then you start getting up into QSCs and EVs and
RCF.
even some of the Yamahas. I think there's something for everybody's budget, but it's one of those things you really need to see what you can spend and to get what you need. But I would always try and find enough money to get a little bit better quality than you think you can, because I think it's going to pay off in the long run for you, because you can buy it once and not have to buy it again. I mean, all of my stuff I've had, some of it pushing 10 years now.
And here's a good point too. I think we talked about this too. The used market of
most
QSC
definitely
speakers.
Yeah.
You buy it and it's like Cobra. You don't lose a lot. You could have it for 10 years and it's still holding its value at that. You know, you're going to lose a couple hundred, but you ain't losing all of it. It's like it holds its value for a reason.
It would not bother me to buy speakers used. Take something to play, plug them in, plug a audio source into it, play it. You're going to know real quick if it's good or not. Push it a little bit, see if there's any distortion in it. Make sure the amp doesn't get warm and kick off if it's a powered speaker. And I mean, it would not bother me. And I have bought stuff used before. Facebook Marketplace. I mean, back when Craigslist was the big thing, I found a lot of stuff there. And it wouldn't bother me to do that. And I guess another thing that we haven't even talked about here is renting stuff.
Totally.
There are a lot of places you can rent stuff from, for the weekend, for the week. Another thing is, do you have any friends that are in a band? That's why I have a PA system, is because I had friends that had a band and we built a PA system for them. And I'm not helping them anymore, but I've still got all the PA stuff. If you have guys that have a band, throw them a few bucks and have them come out and set it up for you. I mean, get it to the point where, hey, you guys can come out and enjoy the cookout and enjoy the fireworks. Can I bring your speakers out and set them up for me? I'll give you a couple $100 and you can probably get a better quality system for less money, and then you don't have to deal with it the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But sound is one of those things where it would surprise you on what it costs to pay a PA company to come out and set up a sound system. Mm-hmm. Not only that, you can probably get a lot bigger sound system than what you could afford to do on your own and not have to buy anything.
You made a good point there too of renting, because, if you're only doing one show a year, then you're not storing all these speakers. You're not storing all this stuff around. It's just sitting there constantly. But if you're doing more than, 1, 2, 3, 4 shows, then it's worth it to buy your own equipment.
And I've done that for for shows where I've needed bigger systems than what I have. I had to rent, 4 or 5 more pieces to make it happen. And it works out great because I don't have to, buy all that stuff.
I agree, man. People are like, oh man, what do I got to buy? Well, so how many shows you shoot? Want one?
Yeah.
Well, you don't need to.
And renting is actually not, well, I don't know. I haven't rented a long time, but when we played in, what was it? That was 2001. Oh, it was a long time ago, but that was only $150 to rent a PA for 2 days on the weekend.
Yeah.
I'm sure
just
around
make
the 4th,
sure you know how to use it.
Yeah.
It is a big thing.
That costs extra.
Yeah. Technical assistance.
This is great. They dropped this thing off, but I have no idea where's this go? What's that plug into? Oh, generator. Yeah, I don't have one of those. That's the thing that Chad was talking about.
Oh, you mean I need an inverter generator?
What's that humming sound?
Yeah. You're frying your speaker.
Have you ever run into any really crazy sound issues on any shows? What's the craziest problem that you've had to solve?
A lot of times it's ground issues. If you're in a venue,
Noise.
Yeah, a lot of noise. LED lights being turned on. Some of the old LED lights would put a hum in things. Lighting systems plugged into the same power outlets as speakers, not having enough power. Not having enough power is probably the biggest thing. You go into a place and you've got 12,000 watts of PA system and they give you a 20 amp outlet. And you just, it's like, boys, this ain't going to work. I mean,
4 15 amp speakers won't run on a 20 amp outlet?
Yeah, no, not all of them. No, do some math here real quick. But
tell me, AJ, how's that work out for you?
And that's when you start running extension cords, all around a building to try and get power. Trying to figure out what circuits you have where.
And that brings up a good point we were talking about last year as well is I bought one of those. Oh God, what's that thing, Bo, where it tells you how many watts you're using? It's like a wattometer or whatever they call it. Yeah. Whatever it's called.
Plotometer.
Oh, plotometer.
Plotometer.
It was cool to see that, you look at these speakers and you're like, oh man, this thing's got to be pulling some amps. I mean, it does when you crank it, but I think the max amps I ever saw coming out of that was just like a peak for like a brief, millisecond at like 6 amps. Other than that, it's set at like 2.4, 3 amps tops, and it wasn't really pulling that much power. So you can, on these 12-inch speakers, you can supply power to a lot of them with just a generator.
Yeah, so totally. I mean, when when the power amp gets going, that's when you're going to be pulling most amps for sure. Yeah. It's just like a vacuum cleaner. Plug it in and watch all the
QSC right on startup only.
On my QSC K12s, I try to keep no more than 4 per 20 amp circuit, and I don't know that I've ever had trouble with blowing breakers by doing that. So I run 6 off of 2 circuits for my fireworks show.
Yeah. And you can do like there's websites that have calculators and stuff like super easy. Like you can just plug in your wattage and it'll tell you how many amps you're going to be pulling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just don't crank your speakers up and then go, why do I not have any power? Oh, I popped the breaker.
Make sure you get clean power from a generator.
Yeah.
There's different generators out
Chad,
there.
It's if it's running on gasoline, it's not that clean.
No, not at all.
You know what? And another way of saying just not even have to deal with a generator. I mean, there's a lot of these new battery packs that are out there that are like generators. And that's clean power. And those will run DJ systems. I've been eyeballing those things. And it's insane. I'm like, I can bring this everywhere. I mean, I can bring this in camping and I'd have to worry about pissing off the neighbors.
What did I see? I think I saw on a Facebook ad. It was something came by. If it tells you, if Facebook I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was a Blue Yeti. I think I got one of those. Now, Goal Zero was the one that I used for all my little piddly stuff. I want to say that there was one that popped up in a feed somewhere, and the wattage on it's what made me stop because the thing looked ridiculous. It looked like a power washer. I'm like, why is there a power washer in my feed?
That's a whole home one.
Yeah. And I look at the thing, I'm like, what in the hell? It was like, was it 2,500 watts or 3,000 watts? And I'm like, that's a battery?
Oh, it's more than that then.
Cow.
I think just the smaller ones, like Chris has one, and it's probably the size of like 2 dual toasters, and he runs his K10s off of that thing. I was over at his house listening to him, and he was he had them blaring, and it was just still staying with it, still sitting there at 93% forever. I was like, man, these things, that's crazy.
I'll bring my camper over and we can plug the air conditioner into it and we'll really put it to the test.
It'll work. That's what those are for. And they're solar. So, I mean, they never die if you just have them charging during the day. So I don't know. I thought about it, but it's one of those, why do you have a generator though? You
can write off your annual tax or your
it would be nice
annual
to get rid of the
fireworks
generator though. Be nice to get rid of that. Even though it's a quiet generator, you still hear it.
Still gotta lug it around too.
Well, the battery ones aren't light either, brother.
This fireworks show is green.
No,
you idiot, not the color. We're shooting the whole thing on a battery. We're saving the environment.
Call Greta. She's going to like it.
What's your recommendation on speaker size, Chad?
I would say 12 is the minimum.
Bigger the better, or?
I mean,
I got 15s. I'm just asking.
Sounds like you're overcompensating.
I'm trying.
I mean, that's what I had before too.
Yeah, I think.
Every year I hear you in the background. Tell them to turn the speakers down.
Because there's distortion coming out of it.
Wow. You should tell him to turn it up because he's still technically under his warranty.
Jamie's speakers made it longer through his show than I make it through a typical podcast.
Before
but it's still not longer than Jamie making it through his own shows. If there's one person at a Jamie show that can't wait for the show to be over, it's Jamie. He's standing behind the table looking like he's just like tapping his foot like, come on, let's get on with it. I got to clean up. What?
I got to break my foot.
Yeah, then he's got to hurt his foot so he can't clean up and everybody else gets to clean up.
Right. There's a pothole somewhere out there that I got to step in.
I think every year, if it's not a pothole, I end up with COVID.
Getting back to the new guys that are asking questions now about how to add sound, I think one thing I would say is just make sure you understand how much time it's going to take to set up a system and how to set up a system.
Amen.
It's a little more time consuming than I think. Like everything else, you think, well, it's just a couple speakers and run some cables. Well, it's a little bit more into that sometimes. And then if you've got any troubleshooting issues, you need to allow some time for that. And we've all been there. It takes longer to set up the fireworks than you think it's going to because of something, because of the weather. Then it's well, we've got to get the speakers out, and then it's how many people can help you get the speakers out, and then it's, well, where's everything at now? Well, it's all over the place. Just have a good plan and know how to set everything up. And if you're going to have somebody else set it up for you, just label everything. And just plug A into A, plug B into B.
Yeah, Jamie tried that one year. We're only that simple.
I didn't have any trouble.
Wait. I need to know what happened.
No, it wasn't the speaker system. It was the slats. Remember when he labeled the one slat? The thing was like, we'll just arbitrarily pick a number here. If that's slat channel 22, and then there's another piece of tape on the module that says this is channel 22. They took the cable, plugged it in one side of the slat because on the end of the cable it said plug me into 22. They plugged one side into the slat, and then they took the other side, which also said 22, and plugged it into the other side of the slat.
What's wrong with that? It's wireless,
exactly.
Right?
They closed the circuit.
Yeah.
Self-powered.
Yeah. Right.
Shunted.
They've closed the circuit.
Don't know why we don't have continuity.
What's really funny is I think we just breezed right by it, didn't we, Jamie? During continuity checks, we're looking at it, and you're like, you know what? I'm good with that. I'm good with that problem. Good with that problem. Good with that problem. Let's go. Shoot it.
It was like 9:30.
Lost a whole slat. Yep.
Shoot it. I got to clean up.
I would think one thing to say, just like the stuff you're doing with fireworks, take your speakers out and set them up. Set them up how you want to set up in the show and turn them on and play everything. Dry run it all. Dry run your script through the speakers. I do it all every year. I don't do it with the full setup now, but I'm sitting here in my shop looking at two speakers that I've got set up, hooked up to the audio box right now. And I've already ran it once.
So do you set up the equalizer on your speakers per your audio or your song that you're using that year? Because that's like the only reason I use a mixer or the audio box going in and then to the mixer. So that way during the time I can take a little bit of mids out or take out some highs or take out some lows.
No, I don't.
He trusts that the mixing and mastering engineer knew what he was doing when he mixed the song.
Yes. And
how much did he pay you, Bo?
He didn't pay me anything because I didn't mix it. I'm talking about like the actual mixing and mastering engineer that did the music.
Well, we just talked about Sausage Fest.
Well, but that doesn't change necessarily like the quality of the frequency response. That's just like the dynamics. Do you turn bass down or do you turn it up day of the show?
Oh, down.
Okay. So that's going to give you a little extra headroom. And here's why. Because if anything hits your 2 bus, which is, it's basically the stereo bus that goes out to your power amp that's powering the speaker. The most energy in a song is always provided by the low end of the song. So if the more low end you take out, when you push that through your speaker system, you're creating a little bit of room because the speaker doesn't have to work as hard to try to move that low energy. So you can crank the mids. It's just like eventually there's like a trade-off, right? Because then it starts to sound like you're bouncing your song
like
off
a 9-year-old.
Yeah, right. An aluminum wall, an aluminum barn.
I guess I just take it out just enough so that I, like you said, I can turn the volume up a little louder, but it's like that perfect medium for what speakers I have for now.
Yeah.
Bring enough rig for the gig.
Dad, correct me if I'm wrong. When you implement a subwoofer, I'm a studio guy. I'm not a live sound guy by any means. Yeah. When you implement a subwoofer into, say, the QSC system, we'll get really specific with your system. Does the QSC system have a crossover filter?
Yeah, they've got internal crossovers built into them. And I think it's at either 100 or 120.
Okay.
They'll cut everything off.
I got you. And then it feeds that to the subwoofer. So the subwoofer does all of that work below that frequency. Gotcha.
With the K12s, you have the ability to, there's settings on the back of it, and you can set it for external sub, which will cross it over and take everything out. You can set it for normal mode, and then you can actually set them for extra deep or deep bass or something to where it'll add a little bit more low end to the 12 itself. So if I'm running subs, I'll turn it on external sub to where it's all of the power is driving the higher frequencies, and you can get a little bit more out of it, like you were saying.
Cool.
But they do have some nice crossovers built into them.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah,
it doesn't actually have its own cable to come out of it to go into the sub.
You can daisy chain them if you want to. You can drop them. I mean, you can go speaker to speaker, and they'll cross over individual speakers. No,
I'm talking about there's like that fourth where it's A, B, C. Maybe I'm picturing this differently.
What it is it's got an A input and a B input, and then you right underneath the inputs there's outputs of A and B, and then it's got a third output that is a summed A plus B together. So each input has its own gain on it. So if you wanted to say an acoustic guitar and a microphone, one guy is out, doing a little acoustic thing, he can go A and B independently, adjust the gains, get it mixed the way he wants to on the speaker, and then take that summed signal and send it to the next speaker, so you don't have to reset everything.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Nice. Well,
and most speakers have that.
Yeah.
Just different ways you can daisy chain from one speaker to the next.
How much do you charge for equipment rental, Chad?
For you? You can't.
No, not for me, because it's like
you can't afford it.
I can't afford that.
Let's see. How many cases do I have?
How many cases have you used, do you mean?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I have to restock.
How many cases is he holding hostage?
How much was it? How much is the semi charge to fill it with all my equipment?
I don't know, but there's a bunch of them right here behind me. No, there are not any here anymore. I think I brought all those over to your house.
Just go grab one of his spikes and light it right now so we can hear it.
I would kind of like to know, like, how did that go? Did he come over and did he get you all liquored up on Fireball or something to get you to say yes to bringing all of his stuff to your house and putting it in your barn?
No, we both completely underestimated how much crap we bought and had delivered to Skywars. We probably brought more stuff back from Skywars than we took to Skywars.
I see.
You remember my trailer?
Yeah,
I do. Actually,
we got it all back here, and I think he finally made the realization that I don't have room at home to store this stuff. I'm like, let's just unload it all here, and I'll sort through it and use what I want. And
That's where half my stuff stays anyways.
yeah. So it works out. Luckily, I've got the space we can do it with. So
Next firebomb orders I order, I'll just have them shipped to your house.
I would appreciate that.
No problem.
Well, I think I've got them. I think I've got all of them right now, don't I?
Do you have my 4-inch?
Yeah, I've got some 4-inch here.
Then
I don't
yeah.
know why, because I don't use those things.
I know they're cool though.
I'm going to order a bunch of stuff for
Talking to
delivery to
Chad.
Skywars. And then
Two
I'm
big
just,
red ones
on my
over
way
there.
back, I'm just going to, oh no. I don't
Chad,
have
I
any
need to
place
drop
to
this
I
off
don't
here.
have
Can I
any
drop
place to
this
put
container
this
here?
stuff.
We got room for a container.
Today in Pyro News.
Okay, so we record on, or we usually record on Tuesdays. Today is Wednesday, so funny old life. There was a fire on Memorial Day at Spirit of 76. Spirit of 76's warehouse in Boonville, Missouri, but no one was injured. And there was a press release issued by Spirit of 76, and I'm going to read that now. Let's see. Spirit of 76 warehouse update. Fire successfully extinguished. No injuries reported. Boonville, Missouri, May 28th, 2024. Spirit of 76 Fireworks is pleased to provide an update regarding the fire that occurred at our warehouse in Boonville, Missouri on May 27, 2024. We are relieved to announce that the fire has been completely extinguished. It did not impact any of our surrounding buildings or businesses, and no injuries were reported. Thank God. We extend our heartfelt thanks to the Boonville, Cooper County, and all of the other first responder crews from surrounding counties for their quick and effective response, ensuring the safety of everyone involved. Thanks to the efforts of the first responders and the safety protocols in place, everyone evacuated the building safely, and the fire will have minimal impact on our operations. That's also very, very good. Spirit of 76 operations has resumed as of Tuesday, May 28th. We've updated our inventory and are still taking orders for shipping out. If you are a customer of Spirit of 76 whose order was impacted by the fire, your account representative will be reaching out to you in the coming days. Then they sent along some images here of the building. I'm sure this link is available, but there was a link where I think they took the drone out, and while the fire was burning, they took some aerial footage. But there was one side of the building, man, it looked pretty hardcore.
Yeah, the one side of the building looked like where the vents were. You could tell the metal was
crazy
warped.
Is that there's another side. If you go around to the left of that picture that you've seen online, that's when I saw that video, I was like, whoa, I didn't see this one before. But I would argue that one's worse than the one with the vents on the side of it. It's crazy, man. Because they had
just something you wouldn't think to hear.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially a facility like that. I mean, that facility's massive. Thank God that nobody got hurt. I guess the sprinkler systems played an integral role in dousing the fire, from what I heard.
It's amazing they were able to keep it contained.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, typically when you hear about fires in fireworks storage facilities, there's no more storage facility. Totally
true. Someone installed it correctly. They sized it correctly. There we go.
A plumber that knew the code.
It's not a plumber. Huh? No, it's not a plumber. That's not us.
That's not you? You don't do sprinklers?
No, that's its own license.
Oh. Ooh. You don't have that license?
Because I don't do that kind of work.
What a loser.
I mean, wow. If I'd have known that was a job, though, I would have tried it, but only because it's simple. but it's not a gig that's is sought after as a plumber. So
really,
how many times do you need at home? How many times do you need your stuff fixed for your sprinkler system? Oh, you don't have one.
That's right.
But you have a toilet and you have a
toilet.
shower.
Yeah, there's lots of toilets
And a hot water heater.
Yeah.
And drains and all kinds of stuff in your house. And I bet you there's
Yeah,
millions of homes.
I'd say you're onto something there. There's probably less sprinklers in the world than there are toilets. But that is, given you're looking for something to do. If you wanted to sit around and watch YouTube,
have a stable job.
Sit around and watch YouTube videos. We got a call. It's like the Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
We got one. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Any other commentary or thoughts on the fire?
I'm just glad everybody, like you said, everyone is safe and everything went okay, and they're still able to be open.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that could absolutely
this is
could
peak
have been
season for them.
Devastating. Yep. Spirit, we wish you guys the best. If there's anything at all that we can do to aid in business continuity, please reach out and let us know.
Hello, no one is available to take your call.
Why don't you ever pick up the phone? I've got something to rescue. I was to have what's in your brain.
Guys, there's so much knowledge in here.
Free waves, ready waves, and I'll give it to me.
You forgot to tell Chad to watch his ears.
Nah, he's fine.
Oh, I know.
He's fine. He does bands.
I got Harry. All right, listen here, boys. Dadgummit, it's Tuesday. Dang, episodes come out on Friday. I'm only 30 minutes into this daggum episode because, dang, boys, 2.5 hours. Ain't nobody got that much time to sit around and listen to you yang jibber jabbering all about everything under the sun. I don't even know what you're talking about in this episode. I know Travis is on it. Good, I wanted to listen to him, but ain't got that much free time, boys. Let's do it better next time, okay? Let's knock it down. Hour and a half, hour 45 minimum. That's all I got the attention span for. Ain't got nowhere I gotta go for 2.5 hours. Come on, let's do this. By the way, Booze Ozzy, I see you got your new balls out. Hope you're shipping your balls everywhere.
I can't. Yeah, they're going out real swishy. They're lovely.
I agree with that gentleman wholeheartedly.
2.5. That was it, huh?
I want to buy him a beer.
Broke your brain.
No, 9 minutes is usually it. That's my limit for stupidity.
Oh, okay, I got you. He usually checks out before the
I do it in 10-minute segments. Takes me 3 weeks to listen to an episode.
Oh my God. By the way, guys, congratulations on 50 episodes. I'm still on 6.
This is a three-peat for me.
I'm only 93 years old.
That's right. This is your
last one.
This is your third time on here, isn't it?
Yep. New world record.
We'll just make you a full-time member of the cast. How about that?
This is fourth, I think.
It's third. The first one was Sky Wars, and
then Fireballs, and
and now Sounds.
Yay!
Man, that has
reached
Fireballs.
the limit of my knowledge on anything.
The limit of your knowledge.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to have you on just to talk about, what you do for a living. So I too can then go employ that in my life and then go buy a warehouse to store my hobbies. I don't know too many people who own a warehouse and a bus for fun.
I don't have a warehouse. I have a shop.
Well, we would call that a warehouse.
A warehouse.
I think me, Jamie, and Bo can make our houses together.
In your warehouse.
Yeah, exactly. We could put all of our homes inside your warehouse. The power you have going just into it, you could run
you can never have
company.
All right, Dad, aren't you worried about throwing a breaker? Nope.
Not at all.
I am not. I liked Travis's episode. During edit, Travis is so well-spoken. And listening to the episode during edit, I caught myself a couple of times. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta go back and edit out all the stupid things that
you were editing and you got lost in just listening.
Yeah, right. I did. I got lost in just listening to him talk.
Yeah, that's how I was too. Like it was just like I think I said it last week too. I forgot I was like on the podcast. Like I felt like I was just listening.
I'm part of this.
And I'm like, oh wait, I can say something.
Until he truly loves the hobby. He's very, very passionate about it for sure.
Yes. Yeah. I was laughing at AJ. I wasn't laughing at Travis's love for the hobby.
No.
It made me think of when he was like, he did the dodgeball reference. He's like, we'll see how that works out for him, Cotton. I got to thinking about you. Effing A.
Wow.
Okay. All right. I would say is there any more questions or commentary on 2.5 hour long episodes, but I think I know what kind of commentary I'm going to get.
Guys, there's so much knowledge in here.
Bo, get real. Don't do that again. Actually, you know what? I don't normally do this, but let me go look and see how many downloads that episode's got.
What good could come out of that?
Exactly. I mean, what blacks could possibly come out of that? As I say that out loud, then I go and it's going to be like 10.
Yeah.
Oh, that didn't work out. Let's see.
Do you have anything that will give you a total for all of the different platforms you're on?
Yeah, I think we're upwards of, I think we're up over 30K. I can look here in a second. All right, Travis's episode, that's not bad. 400. That's pretty good. It's pretty good comparatively. All right, total.
What's your average?
Hold on. Let's see. I don't know.
Hold on, man.
He doesn't want me to give it away.
Sucked on you right there.
Yeah, that's true. The more we withhold this information, the more people get. I want to know.
Fine. Be that way.
Okay, we're up over
FOMO, and you accuse me of FOMO.
For 50 episodes. 50 episodes is not bad. We're up over. We are up over 30K. Yeah, we're at
cool.
30, about 30 and a half total, which I'm very proud of for 50 episodes.
Do we need to send you an award?
No, they send me a badge. They send an email like, congratulations, you hit 30,000 theoretical dollars.
Nice.
If you got $1 for every single time somebody downloaded your episode, you'd have 30,000 theoretical dollars.
But you don't.
Exactly.
So you have nothing.
You got nothing.
You're
negative. Got nothing. We have the revenue that runs this machine is provided by our Patreon subscribers and anyone that buys balls and now DB25 cables. Go get you some.
Which are the same cables that you and I
Yeah, it's the same. They're the same cables. Now it's like the goal with the cables, man, was to just give people access to the super cheap cables. If you're a hobbyist guy, that's it. That's where these are totally applicable, because like you could take these, light them on fire, and you be like, oh, okay, I'm out like, I'm out $8. Big deal. It's not. And I tried to get insanely competitive with pricing on these. They're cheaper than Amazon for sure.
They melt just as good as the expensive ones.
Yeah.
It'll be nice to know that you've got somewhere to go. You don't have to go through 4,000 different specs on cables to figure out which one you want.
Yeah.
Hey, Bo's got them. Get them from Bo.
We've used them.
Do they work?
Yep.
This show went.
Yeah. It's definitely like gauge wire, and that's the reason that we're only selling short runs. 6 foot and 10 foot. And, you guys, I think Jamie and AJ, you guys can probably talk to this a little more than I can, because I don't do a ton of parallel cues, but you guys have popped.
I've done it before.
How many did you get out of these cables? Like, cause I think Jamie, the test that you ran a couple of years ago, we used a 15 footer.
It was a 10 footer, but it was like I think it was 7 in series.
See, that's a lot. See, I would
It
never
didn't
recommend.
like that.
Yeah, right. Don't do that because I don't want to hear it.
But I threw it on the 6-footer and they all popped.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah.
But with these cables, they're just shit. They're terrible. Well, how many cues did you try to pop at once? 17?
7.
That's
in
not
less
important.
than over every cue in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Add a breakout board to a breakout board to a breakout board.
I cut 2 cables in
Scotch
half and
cables would've-
spliced them together.
And then then I had 3 in series on each breakout board.
You know, there's a great test just to have some
That
fun
was
with.
my first show for sure. Oh my God, that was brutal. That was brutal.
I think everybody's, like I said, first is like that because you try to maximize what you have. And by the time you're done, you're like, I need more stuff. That's it. I'm not doing that again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I had like 300 cues and I shot 700. 3 positions.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know.
sitting
Like,
here looking at all my stuff right now going, 3 years ago, I thought I was only going to need like a quarter of what I have now.
Oh my God. I just talked to my wife about that. I'm like, I told you about that, Bo. I sold that cheap firing system I had.
yeah.
And then that was my thing. I was like, hey, I can get rid of this. I was like, but I can get this one. And I was like, I'll probably only need like 300 cues.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll probably never go over 300 cues. And then, you max that all out and you're like, you just another 72. And next thing you know, it's like, I need another.
Now, if you shot a
400.
300 cue show, you'd feel like you're going into retirement or something.
What'd you do after the first minute?
Minute.
Oh, it's funny.
God.
Chad, thank you, man, for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hope I added something.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like I know a lot more about the systems that play
Oh, we
sounds
need
now.
your phone number.
Yeah.
Oh, we need your phone number? We'll send you a badge when you hit 100 downloads. With no
Hang on,
money.
I'm
There'll be no money
getting
in
you
that
my
card.
phone number right now.
Hold on, let me change my phone number.
I knew exactly where he was going with it. This is that reverse. My phone number is. Jamie's like, hey, that's my phone number.
Thank you for calling Phantom Fireworks.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling Chad's secretary, where I schedule all the speaker setups for your pyro needs. Yes, July 4th is wide open.
Just remember that when you ask me to set your speakers up again.
Hold on.
Pointing the wrong
Well,
direction.
next year, I'm just going to have you bring your speakers because yours are better than mine.
Here's something I just thought of that hopefully everybody gets to this in, but question for you on this, Chad, too. Have you ever had to deal with light drizzle and powered speakers? Like, what did you do?
Put a trash bag over them.
Okay. And you don't have to worry about them overheating or anything?
Yeah, I was going to ask that too.
Not. If it's raining, it's cool out. And then they're liquid cooled. No,
Yours are liquid cooled?
well, they are when it's raining.
Oh, okay. Wow. I'm like, wait a minute. I got the wrong QSCs, man.
Dude, you could have played that. If he would have said yes, he would have been on the phone tomorrow with
you not get the
Guitar
right ones?
Center asking for liquid cooled QSCs.
You sent me to get them.
Oh my God, that would have been
great.
so
That
funny.
would have been great. It's right next to the blinker fluid.
Right.
No,
Headlight fluid.
Throw a bag over them. Throw a trash bag over them. You can play them with the bag there, but take them off before the show. A little drizzle is not going to hurt them. The ones you and I have are all plastic enclosures. Do you want them in a downpour? No.
No.
I mean, I can tell you what mine went through last year. I mean, Jamie can tell you what mine went through last year. And I mean,
You ever seen a QSC fly?
they did.
And they still work.
I mean, yeah. So I went back in and they were, scraping the mud off of them because they all got blown over. And
I would imagine some of these higher end speakers probably have IP ratings too. I don't know if they're.
That's a good question. I'll have to look that up.
yeah.
What are your thoughts of leaving the bag on there if it's raining?
You can. Is it going to hurt the sound? Yeah, maybe. If you're out there and it's raining, are you going to notice a trash bag being over it? No. I don't think so. I guess I don't think it would be a big deal. I mean,
I've done it. I didn't notice a big difference, but
can some people say, yeah, I mean, can you tell a difference? Yes, I'm sure you can.
AJ would.
AJ would, yes.
Wow.
I can hear it. It just doesn't sound right.
Yeah,
Show's ruined.
Got to tweak the mids.
Yeah. Pull that bass out. Trust me.
Yeah. It'll be okay.
If you want to get through that trash bag, you better pull those sub frequencies out.
Dagger.
I was trying to see if they are, rated for anything.
Yeah, I was looking here too on the spec sheet. I can't find usually they have a link to the documentation, but I don't see that. And it's not listed in the spec rating.
Yeah, I've got it.
So one idea though, besides the trash bag, because it happened last year on our Creston show, it had a light drizzle that was coming in. It was going to rain and we knew, but it was just like going to be one of those like short 10-minute tops, like drizzle or rain. So we just took tents and put pop-up tents around.
You can do
them.
that too. I mean,
the only thing that's bad about it is the sound kind of does go a little bit away because you have to keep it down so much as the wind's kind of pulling water in there. We didn't want them to get wet, but I guess if you're telling me they can get a drizzle on them, I probably should have just raised the tents up a little higher.
I would.
I was just paranoid.
I know mine went through a rainstorm last year, and they're fine. Do you want rain going right onto all the drivers? No. Do you want rain getting in all the connections in the back? No.
Did we get them in time before the torrential downpour hit?
No, they blew over.
I couldn't remember if they were still out there when it was torrential downpouring.
Yeah, because I think the rain actually washed some of the mud off of them.
Oh, so there you go. Case in point.
Pre-wash.
If they get torrential downpoured like a car wash, they still work.
It's a great commercial. Call QSC. Check it out, guys. We'll reenact this.
Be like the episode of Evan Almighty.
Here you go, Bo. Now you can attach them to the rafts. You don't have to worry about a little water on them.
Yeah.
Surround sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they float. We can use them as rafts.
Yeah. I mean, it's essentially a wooden or plastic box, right?
They actually make outdoor covers for them.
Do they?
Yeah.
I don't see any. Usually the IP60 ratings are water. And I pulled up the data sheet and I don't see that. So
they have an outdoor cover you can put on in case of inclement weather.
Cool.
And still play them. Again, I think they're ABS plastic.
Cover. Trash bags it is.
Yeah. I mean, I would, if it was going to, I've had them out in rain before and I've covered them with a bag. And then usually by the time it's, time to do whatever you're doing with them, take the bags off.
Yeah.
And it's usually done raining. If it's still raining, we're not doing whatever we were supposed to be doing outside anyway. Unless you're me shooting a fireworks show in a storm.
All right, pull the bags off, boys. We got a show to shoot.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Just like the single shot racks, right? Oh, wait a minute. I thought you told me to take the bag off of this. Oh, no.
You shoot through those bags.
Oh, no. Yeah. Bam.
We're hoping for no weather this year.
Shut up, Chad. Don't talk about it.
I know. Stop talking about it.
No weather?
Stop talking about it.
Yes, that's a good segue, actually. Stop talking about it, Chad.
Stop talking about the weather.